Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you're new here. My name is Claire and I put out videos about luxury bags and accessories. So if that is your thing, please click on the subscribe button, hit the notification bell and you'll know when I upload a new video. Right, I promised a Murakami story time. I didn't do it on my unboxing video because that video would have gone on and on for ages, and I know a lot of people were just there for the unboxing and they would have just fast forwarded to the unboxing, or they would have just got fed up and left the video anyway. But for those of you that are actually interested in me and my channel and maybe want to hear the story time and are here watching this video, thank you very much. And I do hope that maybe some of you who found me through my Murakami vlog and unboxing, because those videos have been very popular because they're Murakami, but I hope maybe some of you who found me because of those have come back to me and have decided to either subscribe to me or at least listen to this video with my Murakami story time. Now, why did I want to do this? It's because I've never mentioned the Murakami collection on my channel before. I've shown my Louis Vuitton bag collection on my channel before, and I'll link that video down below. It's not an extensive collection. I've probably got more SLGs than I have bags, many of which I either put in an SLG collection video or I've unboxed them here on my channel. And I do use my Louis Vuitton SLGs every day. I use my 6-ring key holder, my key pouch, I use my agenda, I use my card holder, So if you're familiar with that collection, you'll know that I don't have any Murakami in it. I don't have a Murakami piece from the old collection. So now, I do. I have my two new pieces, my pencil case and my key pouch from the new collection, but I haven't got any of the older pieces. Now, I saw a lot of comments online on videos saying, oh, it's the people interested in this new collection, there's all the millennials that couldn't afford the collection at the time because they were teenagers or in their early 20s, couldn't afford the collection when it first came out, so they're all rushing to buy the collection now. Well, that was kind of the case with me. I'm not a millennial though, I'm Gen X, so I don't think it was just millennials, I think it was some of us from Gen X as well. I think I was probably in my early 30s, and yeah, when it first came out I couldn't really afford it either at that point. I had a fairly good job, but I did have a lot of commitments and I wasn't really in a position at that point in my life to be regularly buying luxury items or buying from Louis Vuitton. I had bought my first designer bag at that point, and that was a Gucci bag, which again I've shown on my channel, but I was certainly not in the position where I could regularly buy designer items. That luxury bag from Gucci was a one-off purchase. I bought that and a purse together. It was a one-off buy, and it was quite a few years before I could actually afford to buy another luxury bag or another designer bag. So it wasn't the case that I bought my first one and then I was off and I was buying them regularly. So at that point, when the Murakami collection first came out, I certainly couldn't afford those items. My son is 20 this year, so it came out in 25, so that was obviously the year I was expecting my son. So Murakami was the last thing on my mind. We were preparing for a new baby, but I did like the collection. Obviously, I saw it on celebrities at the time. I liked it. I really was taken with the white. It was the white that I really liked, and I decided to buy a couple of white pieces, and I did. I bought a white bag and I bought a white wallet. However, I didn't buy them directly from Louis Vuitton. I hadn't even been into a Louis Vuitton boutique at that point. I think I was far too intimidated. I think the only boutique I had ever been into was the Gucci one. I was far too intimidated at that point, even then, to go into a Louis Vuitton boutique, and knowing I couldn't really afford the items in there anyway, I just didn't do it. I wasn't really familiar with the exact prices of Louis Vuitton, so you knew it was expensive. I wasn't familiar with the quality, what the canvas felt like and things like that. So I did buy a couple of pieces off of eBay. Now, of course, back then there were no safeguards, there were no purchase protection, there was no authentication services either within eBay or outside of eBay. There wasn't any online service or any even brick and mortar service you could go to and get your item authenticated. There wasn't the wealth of information there is online these days about Louis Vuitton items and date codes and things like that. So I was very naive. I saw these items on eBay, they were advertised as genuine, and I purchased them. They weren't cheap. I'm sure they weren't the price that they would have been from the boutique, but they were kind of somewhere in between. And I guess I felt that, you know, they were quite expensive, so I thought, well, they must be real. It says they're genuine, they must be real. I was quite naive. The 2 items arrived, and you know, I know we have super fakes today, and you know that it really is hard to tell sometimes, and people do say that the fakes from years ago, it was really obvious. It was obvious if maybe you were used to going into a boutique and handling the items and seeing them, and you could probably tell straight away if something was fake because the fakes weren't that great. But I didn't have that experience. I didn't know. So when they arrived, I didn't know 100% if they were fakes or not. Now I've got a feeling, I'm trying to remember because it is a long time ago, but I think the bag I felt was fake. I think I got the bag and I sort of thought to myself, I don't think this looks or feels kind of luxury designer quality. The only thing I had to compare it to was my Gucci bag. That was absolutely beautiful Italian leather, extremely good quality. This was canvas, the bag I got was canvas, and I just thought, you know, it's hard to tell because it's leather for V canvas, but I could tell that perhaps the hardware wasn't that great, the finishing wasn't that good, and I thought to myself, I think I've been duped here, I've been conned, I think I've got a fake. That really obviously upset me, and it just absolutely tainted my feeling about the bag. I just didn't even like the bag at that point. I think I took it out once and I hated it. I hated taking it out, I hated using it, and with the bag I just didn't want to be seen with it because I was fairly sure it was a fake. Obviously I had no comeback whatsoever. I didn't use it again. I think I said, as I say, I think I just used it once. I didn't use it again. I stuck it up in the loft, and then years ago when I had a clear out I threw it away. The wallet stroke purse, it was kind of like a little bifold wallet purse thing. Again, I wasn't 100% sure when I first got it, but it did look slightly better quality. Even just from using it a few times, the edging, which was supposed to be leather but probably wasn't, had actually started to crack. So I know as soon as that happened, I knew pretty much for sure then it was a fake, and I think that's when I stopped using it. That got stuck in a drawer, and again, I know a good few years ago that got thrown away as well. I just chucked it away. So I'd had those 2 white multicolour pieces. I'd spent quite a bit of money on them. They were fake. I barely used them, and you know, I was so upset. I didn't want to use them. It just completely and utterly tainted the collection with negativity for me. Every time I saw that white multicolour again, as the years went by, it just reminded me of that horrible experience. So over the last few years, I've seen a few unboxings of vintage Murakami pieces here on YouTube. I've seen some of the vintage Murakami pieces in Fashion File when I went to Fashion File in New York, and you know, and I've seen some of my friends here on YouTube unbox some, and they have some as well. And I have thought to myself, you know, before I knew that this collection was relaunching, I have thought to myself a couple of times, maybe I might buy a vintage piece. But to be honest, it's not really a collection I've thought to myself, I must rush out and buy a vintage piece, I must have a piece of that collection. Then I found out this collection was being relaunched, it was coming out again, and I was very, very excited. I thought, right, I would love to get a black piece of the collection because I do actually prefer the black multicolour, and I thought I probably won't want or like any of the white pieces, and I thought, but I would love to get a black piece. And I saw they were bringing the key pouch out again. I thought I would absolutely love that. I knew that this was going to be really difficult to get. I knew it was going to be sought after. I knew that of all the pieces, that key pouch was probably going to be the most popular. I was tempted by the passport covers, notebook covers, but I actually thought to myself, you know, if I'm going to get a piece of this collection, get something you will definitely use, you will probably use every day, and I knew that would be the key pouch because I do use my Damira Bean key pouch every day. I use it as a mini catch-all in my bags, and I thought how lovely, how amazing to have my mini catch-all in this beautiful multicolour print. Now I did see a couple of the white pieces I liked, as I say, like the passport cover and this pencil case, but I thought I'm not going to pre-order the pencil case because I'm really not sure. I don't know if I desperately want it, but I really do want to see if I can pre-order this. I knew pre-orders were opening at the beginning of December. So I messaged my good friend Deb from Wild Unfiltered because I'd met her sales associate James in 2023 in London, and I don't have a Louis Vuitton sales associate. I used to have one in Harrods. She was lovely, but she left. And I haven't bought anything Louis Vuitton since, so I didn't get allocated a new sales associate. I didn't need to find a new sales associate in Harrods. So when I knew I wanted to pre-order something, I thought, well, I don't have anyone in Harrods that I can contact. So I have met James. He was lovely. He did say to us at the time, if there's anything you ever need, please let me know. So I got his contact details from Deb, and I said to her, I want to pre-order the key pouch. Now, pre-orders opened here in the UK on the 2nd of December. And I think that was a Monday, and Deb messaged me halfway through the day and she said, have you contacted James yet? And I was at work and I was like, oh no, I'm busy at work, I'll do it later. And she gave me a little prod. She said, I really think you ought to do it as soon as possible. I said, yeah, all right, you're probably right actually. And thank you for that, Deb, because if I hadn't have had that little prod, I probably would have left it too late. But I messaged James at that point and I said, you know, I met you in London, blah, blah, blah. Would I be able to pre-order this piece? He came back to me and he said, yeah, absolutely, I remember you. It was lovely to meet you. Yeah, he said, pre-orders opened worldwide today. He said, and it's gone absolutely crazy. But, you know, yes, hopefully I'll be able to pre-order that piece for you. So we then sorted out the transaction. He said, you know, you need to pay a deposit. To me, a deposit is usually a percentage, but with these pre-orders you had to pay the full amount, so it wasn't really a deposit, it was the full amount. So he said, you know, I need you to pay me the full amount. I said, yeah, that's absolutely fine. So we sorted the transaction out. The good thing about Louis Vuitton is your whole Louis Vuitton buying history is on your profile. Other brands, like Fendi for example, I have like a buying profile at Bicester Village, I have a buying profile at Harrods, I have a buying profile online, and none of it merges. Whereas Louis Vuitton, everything merges. So my profile with Louis Vuitton has everything I've ever bought directly from Louis Vuitton boutiques, either New Bond Street, Harrods, or online, because they're the 3 places I've ever shopped Louis Vuitton. If I bought anywhere else from Louis Vuitton, that would go on my profile in one place. So James could see my whole buying history, and he was able to check that and get my customer details and everything, and then we were able to do the transaction. And I sent my deposit, my full amount. The following day I was emailed a receipt. So I didn't think anything more of it. As far as I was concerned, I thought I'd pre-ordered my piece. I knew there was not 100% guarantee. I did know that sometimes with Louis Vuitton and other brands, you can pre-order something and pay for it up front, but you still might not get it. So I didn't actually think to myself, oh yes, I've definitely got it. I just thought to myself, I've probably got it, and I've certainly done as much as I can do to get it. There isn't anything else I can do. I've pre-ordered it and I've paid for it on the first day. If I'm going to get it, I'm going to get it. If I don't get it, there wasn't any more I could have done. Following day, Deb messaged me and she said, I'm a bit confused because there seems to be this threshold for doing a pre-order of the Murakami collection now. We were a bit confused, and Deb put out a video on that day talking about this and talking about what she'd heard and, you know, what it meant, sort of thing. And I remember watching her video and thinking, yeah, it's really interesting. And then I started seeing other videos and hearing other murmurings in the YouTube luxury community that some people had tried to do pre-orders and were told, no, you can't do it, you can't pre-order this collection. And then I had people on my Facebook group who'd been sent the lookbook and they'd pre-ordered a load of things, and people who were trying to pre-order and were told, no, you can't. So it did get a little bit confusing as to who could pre-order and who couldn't, and I felt very grateful at that point that I had actually put in a pre-order. However, on the 2nd of January, the day before the launch, I got a message from James where he said, I'm waiting for stock to arrive, and when it does, I'm going to try and allocate your piece to you. So I took it from that I definitely hadn't got my piece. There was a question mark as to whether I'd got my piece. And again, I was chatting to Debs about it, and she'd spoken to James as well, and she said, he's confirmed that my pieces are there, but it appears that Louis Vuitton has not been able to meet all the pre-orders, and quite a lot of customers are having their orders cancelled. I still didn't know either way. I hadn't had a message to say I'd got it, I hadn't had a message to say it had been cancelled. So I thought, well, you know, no news is good news at the moment. So I just had to wait. So by the time I went up on the 3rd, I said in my vlog when I was on the station platform, at that point I still didn't know if I had my pre-order, and that definitely was the case. I didn't know. It got to the Saturday morning and I still didn't know. I'd been into Harrods and I'd been able to get the pencil case, so I was absolutely thrilled that at least I'd got one item. And I said originally I wasn't keen on the white. As soon as I saw the white, I really liked it. Once I saw it in person, I mean, this is an absolute world away from those dodgy, horrible fakes that I bought, you know, 20 odd years ago. This is just another level. Yeah, so unfortunately those fakes completely tainted my view of the white collection, and now I've seen genuine pieces from the white collection. I absolutely love them, and this is beautiful. I'm thrilled I got this. So I went to bed on the Friday night knowing at least I'd got one piece. So if for whatever reason I hadn't got this pre-order hadn't come through, at least I'd got one piece from the collection. But then the lovely Deb said to me, she said, you know that one of the pieces I've pre-ordered is the key pouch. She said, I have changed my mind. She said, I'd rather have something else, and if James has got it, I'd rather get that. She said, so you can have my key pouch. She said, if, you know, we know that my key pouch is there, if yours isn't, you can have mine. She said, even if this other item isn't there, she said, I think, you know, I don't want the key pouch, you can have it. And I said, well, that is so kind of you. That is absolutely lovely of you, but don't make any rush decisions. Wait and look at it first, because you might see it, you might absolutely love it and decide you do want to keep it. I said, so I'm not going to hold that against you if that's the case, but obviously if my piece isn't there and you do decide you don't want yours, then I would love to have yours instead. So that was what we agreed and how we went forward. So we got to the boutique on the Saturday, and James was amazing. It was lovely to see him. He looked after us so well. We were chatting about the collection, and then I sort of looked at him and I said, is my item here? Is my piece here? And he said, no, it's not. He said, I'm so sorry. He said, it's not here. He said, but it is coming. He said, it's on order. He said, I'm, you know, 100% sure you're going to get it. You will get it, but it's not here. So sadly, you can't take it away with you today. And I said, okay, that's fine. You know, I understand. But then obviously Deb interjected and said, well, my piece is here, isn't it? She said, I have decided I don't want it, so can you transfer it to Claire? And she also asked if he had the other piece that she wanted, which he did. So please check out her unboxing, because the one piece she pre-ordered and the other piece that she swapped this for is on her unboxing. He said what we can do, we can just do a bit of transferring, exchanging, so on and so forth. So hopefully someone else did benefit from what we did, because I took this piece that was originally allocated to Deb, the piece that was on order that had been allocated to me was then released and could be allocated to somebody else who'd either pre-ordered it or ordered it. So, you know, I'm sure that piece, you know, went very quickly to somebody else. So that's why I then was able to bring this piece home with me. So that weekend I came home with my two pieces. Now obviously there's been all this chatter online about, you know, the whole problem with people pre-ordering and having their orders cancelled, there not being enough stock, it all selling out straight away, people in other countries having problems not actually being able to pre-order. I've watched quite a few YouTubers videos where they said I wanted to pre-order and my sales associate said I couldn't, and then they let me do it on a certain date, but then when I did do it, I didn't know if I was going to get my stuff, etc, etc. It's all, there's lots of different stories online. James simply said to us that pre-orders opened on that first day. They knew it was going to be busy, they knew it was going to be in demand, but they had no idea it was going to be as in demand as it was. And apparently it went absolutely crazy. So the following day, and this was all decided then at very high level, that it was decided the following day to start putting these spend thresholds. So you could only pre-order if you had a certain spend with Louis Vuitton in the last 12 months. And apparently that spend threshold kept going up. All I can take from that is, yes, there was a lot of hype around this collection, and I know probably us YouTubers have hyped it up even more. I just think that genuinely, perhaps from previous collections that they relaunched, like the denim collection this time last year, I think that wasn't as popular as they thought it was going to be. Because I remember being told, oh, if you want a denim piece, you've got to pre-order, they're all going to be sold out. And I went into Louis Vuitton Harrods, I think it was on about the 4th or 5th of January, 2 or 3 days after the collection had launched, and there was so much stock. There was loads of pieces, there were pieces still available online. You know, there's no way it was selling out. So I think that collection wasn't as in demand as they thought it was going to be, and maybe they thought it was going to be the same with the Murakami, and they just completely underestimated how in demand this first drop of the Murakami collection was going to be. The demand was sky high, and they probably realised that they just couldn't meet the stock requirements for all those pre-orders, so then they started putting these spend thresholds on the pre-orders. So that's why I was so lucky and privileged to have been able to pre-order on that first day. And had I left it to the next day, had I not, you know, listened to Deb and done it when she prodded me and reminded me to do it, I probably would have missed out. This is my take on the situation. You know, I may be wrong. Everything's alleged, as they say, but this is my understanding from the bits and pieces I heard from different people. So yeah, so that Louis Vuitton just wasn't really prepared for the demand, and then when the collection actually launched, you know, that's why some customers were disappointed. So even some of those that had been allowed to pre-order couldn't get their items. I don't know what the situation is going forward. I've been fortunate enough to get my 2 items. I'm not really wanting any more from the multicolour collection, so I'm not, you know, in touch with James or any other sales associate trying to get another piece, so I don't know what's happening now. I've seen on Facebook that some people that were disappointed initially have been able to now order items that they wanted, so hopefully it's all settling down. I'm sure there's a few items that are just going to be very, very difficult to get, but I think there is restocking of a number of other items. We've got 2 more drops coming. We've got the Cherry Blossom and the Cherries drop. I don't think I'll be getting anything from the Cherry Blossom. I'll say it now, the Cherries drop, I might get something from the Cherries. I always liked the Cherries. I've had the opportunity over the years to buy a monogram piece with the cherries on it, and I've never actually, you know, done that up until now. I looked at the sunglasses case in the black multicolour, which you may have seen on my vlog. I really liked that, but I decided ultimately against buying it. But I did say to Deb at the time, if they bring the sunglasses case out in the cherries collection, so it's monogram with the cherry, I will probably buy it. So you know, I'm putting that out there now. If they happen to release the sunglasses case in the cherries, I will try and pre-order that. That is one I will try and buy. Otherwise, I'm just going to wait and see what they bring out. There might be a piece that they bring out in the cherries collection, which I decide, yeah, love that, really want to get it. I don't think the Cherry Blossom and the Cherries collection are going to be quite as popular as the multicolour collection. I would imagine they are going to be popular, and I think possibly the cherries might be even more popular than the Cherry Blossom. I don't think there's going to be quite the hype and the demand that we have just seen with the multicolour. So anyway, as I say, that's my whole take on it. That was my experience. As I say, I know everybody's experiences seem to have been different depending where you are in the world. This was my experience and what I've interpreted the situation to be from different things I've heard from different people. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed my story time. I'm absolutely thrilled with my 2 Murakami pieces. These have definitely laid to rest the ghost of, you know, all the fakes from the past. Absolutely fallen back in love with this white multicolour and, you know, and adore my black multicolour piece. So yeah, I'm very, very grateful and happy that I've got those pieces. So let me know what you think down in the comments. Let me know your experience. Let me know what pieces you got from the collection. If you wanted something from the collection, I really hope you got what you wanted and you didn't experience any difficulties or problems or disappointments. If you've enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you've stuck around and you're still here at the end of this video, give me a little panda emoji in the comments so that I know you're still here and you've actually stayed with me for the whole story time. But yeah, anyway, thank you everyone. I really appreciate you watching and I look forward to seeing you on the next one. Bye everyone.